For those of us that are females, the father figure means a lot to us. See, your daughters are going to look at you, and as she builds relationships in her life, she really doesn't know what she's doing, but she's looking for someone that has the attributes of her father. So what are you showing her? But my children are not basing it off of what I say. They go on by what they see. What are they seeing day in and day out? What are they seeing when you think they're not looking? 'Cause that's the stuff they're looking at. Okay. Here are 10 words that as I started to walk with my father and learn of him, because I didn't know it initially. I'll be a liar to tell you I got born again and had it all figured out. I had to learn of him. The only way I can learn of him is being in his word and being around true men and women of God that had been through some stuff, that could share how did God get them through. See, it's not about you. But I want to know how God got you through that. Because see, if you can get through, then I can get through. Because he's no respecter of persons. And so I said, here's a word I learned from the Lord: encouragement. Encouragement. Our Father encourages us. And he encouraged Jesus. Do you remember when Jesus was baptized in Mark? And coming straight out of the water, he said, "This is my son." And it wasn't a figment of someone's imagination. They heard it. God spoke from heaven and said, "This is my son." In case y'all are confused, this is my son in whom I'm well pleased. I said, thank you, Lord, for encouraging us. No matter what you do when you go back to the Father, he's going to correct you. That's one of the ones on my list. He's going to correct you, but he's also going to encourage you. Don't sit in that. There is therefore no more condemnation. I didn't get that encouragement when I was small. He said, peace is the next one he gives to you. Jesus, before he left, said, my peace. Okay, so I got to stop right there for a minute. Because a lot of times we try to get our own peace. And we have our own definition of peace, if we were honest with each other. But he said, my peace I leave. Nobody can give you my peace. Nobody can give you Jesus' peace. I want to go with you, I'll have you go with me, the way you want to look at it, to Mark 4. We know this story, but we're going to read it. Mark 4 and 35. And as I start reading it, you will remember it. That's a very common story. On the same day, when evening had come, he said to them, let us cross over to the other side. Now when they had left the multitude, they took him, along in the boat as he was. And the other boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so that it was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on a pillow. Put your hand right there. What is that actually saying? See, I think a lot of times when we read a story, we just read it. And he said, in all you're getting, get understanding. Not only get information, get understanding. So what is this saying? This is saying even though there was a turmoil, there was a storm, there was a, for us it may not be a rainstorm, it may not be a boat, but it could be Nebraska. It could be what was going on in Nebraska. For us, there's storms. And he was still sleeping. That means he knew that that storm could not overtake him. And I'm going to continue to rest through the storm. But the rest of us that are not there yet, guess what we're going to do? And they awoke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? Do you not care that this boat is rocking all over the place? And we're about to be This is Shirley, eaten by the shark. So then he arose and he rebuked the wind. So he dealt with that first. And what did he say to it? He said, peace, be still. Sometimes we need to tell our storms, peace, be still. But anyway, the wind ceased and there was a great calm. And he said to them, why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? Stop right there. What he was saying to them is, I am in this boat with you. How are you going to survive when I leave? I'm in the boat with you. And you still have no faith. You still have no faith. And by this time, they had saw miracles. They had saw him raise the dead. They had saw him give sight to the blind, and they still had no faith. That's why he went there. Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? And they feared exceedingly and said to one another, these are his 12. They turned around and say to one another, who can this be? That even the wind and the sea obey him. So we have a lot of teachings on the scripture. I mean, I know I have. And no one took the time to break this down for me. Because now when God says stop, because see, when you're studying, he won't let you to keep going through something. He's going to stop you at a Selah moment. Okay, Father. So they still feared. And they questioned. And they doubted. And how many of us today do that? How many of us today still do that? We have seen God deliver us. We have seen God set us free. We have seen miracles. We have seen bills get paid that shouldn't have got paid because we didn't have enough money. We've seen diagnoses that shouldn't have been cured, and we still fear. We still fear and say, who is this? I praise the Lord he doesn't react to our actions or our thoughts. Because sometimes we get all holy and high on ourselves and we're not honest with ourselves. Then he said, I said, well, God, when I think of the word Father now, I think protection. I think protection. He protects me. He keeps me in all my ways. He keeps me when I'm driving an hour up and down the highway. He keeps me when the deer, it may not mean nothing to you, but the deer crossing in front of me mean a whole lot to me. I could have hit a tree. I could have been in a ditch. He kept me when my husband was on the road all week. And the house remained intact because Lord knows that is not Shirley's calling. Something had gone wrong in that house, I'd have been calling every man in this church to come help me. As I sat outside waiting for you to arrive. Do you notice where I'm turning you to? For those of you that have not had the best life with your father, I'm turning you to the Father. Because see, when you pray unto the Father, he may even correct your natural father. Your prayers is what will do it. A good father corrects. Now, it may not feel good to those of us that are being corrected. Let me put the little disclaimer down there. You know, I like to give disclaimers. It won't feel good to those of us that are being corrected. But a good father corrects. And corrects with godly counsel. With godly counsel. Not just because you feel like this is what it should be. Or not just because I am father, hear me roar. I am the daddy, you must listen to me. We are shaping the lives of the next generation. You've got to think about what you're doing. You will be held accountable for that. God will call you accountable for it. The next word is security. I'm giving you the words that God has replaced what I didn't have from my father. Security. I feel secure in the Lord. I know that no matter what stupid mistake I make, because they're stupid, when you think back on it, what were you thinking about on that one? You're stupid. All these minds were. Let me talk about myself then. See, I'm the only one that go through these things. I know that I'm secure. He says, I have you. There's not much you can do. If I don't allow you to mess up your own life, you won't mess it up. But I will allow some things so you can get in line. And how many of you know that my daddy, capital D, likes to laugh? He is joyful. He said, make a joyful noise unto the Lord. I had to learn that one. I had a very stern. Thank you, Lady Veronica. Thank you, Lady Veronica. I have been delivered. But I will admit it. I was very serious. I had a lot going on in his brain. It's always working. And God had to say, I need you to pipe it down a minute and enjoy what's around you. And he will use people to help you do that. He starts at home. He does. He starts at home. And my husband is a jokester. It's very little that really gets him riled up. He's like, it'll be fine. We'll be fine. And I'm now thinking about the next, what are we going to do? What do you mean it's going to be fine? He's like, it's okay. That can be fixed. And I'm like, well, I don't know how much money it's going to take to fix that. And where are we going to get that from? Where are we going to do this from? Where are we going to, and the brain just keeps going. Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, it's all good. When I wasn't walking right. Because see, I didn't come to Jesus when I was 16 like my daughter. She was younger than that. But I mean, she's young. And he didn't give up on me. He didn't give up. He said, we're going to make it through. Because I know what I got for you about 20 years from now. I know all the people you're going to need to speak to 20 years from now. See, that's where God the Father speaks. So you fathers, I need you to see in the future. I need you to see what your behavior is doing now, the seeds that you're planting and what it's going to do to your children 10 years from now, 15 years from now. Because see, that's what my father did. He said, she cutting up and acting up. That's okay, I got you. Keep on. Keep on keeping on. You're going to learn today. I'll meet you at the crossroad. So as a father, even as mothers, and as mothers that are fathers, unfortunately, due to their circumstances, you need to think about what you're planting today and where that seed is going to sprout up. Where is that plant going to sprout up? What is the attribute of that? Jesus' sacrifice was huge, y'all. Come on. Because I know today the world calls it Father's Day. You know, my father is my father every day. God is my father every day. Your father should be your father every day. But I really didn't have my mom either. So what could I offer him? And I didn't even know I couldn't offer him. That's the sad part. But look at God. And he'd take a person, his father wasn't there either. And his mother, because of how she was raised, doesn't understand the word love. Otherwise, she wouldn't act the way she acted. And he put these two people together. And he says, if you trust me, ride this thing out. Because when you get down to where I can see you, we've been together 25 years, married 15. He says, when you can get down here, come on, if I can get you through the first 10 years, come on, say it. I'm going to show you what it's all about. I can stand here today and say, I love my husband. Come on, say it. No other person tickles my fancy. Don't care what you look like. Don't care what you have to offer. But that came because I had to learn how to love him.